My name's John Wayland. I've been a manufacturer and I know where manufacturing has to go and where it's going. It's being reinvigorated. It's being funded by Advanced Manufacturing Growth Centre, and in New South Wales that's Michael Sharp, and he's doing a wonderful job to encourage manufacturing SMEs to become involved in research.
Australian manufacturing is much larger and stronger than people give it credit for. 21 months now of consecutive growth. It's also transforming rapidly, and its best days certainly lie ahead. Everyone in this room is very much part of that transformation, and the work you do is vital to that future.
Here we are at the Linfield facility of the CSIRO in Bradfield Road, New South Wales. This is truly an awesome facility. This truly has examples of the reinvigoration of manufacturing by involvement with research. It is a place that we want to attract manufacturers to see what the scientists and the engineers can do. REFACTURED is one of the processes that we're using to convey this message. And it is this message that we have to get out to manufacturers to reinvigorate and build on the core competencies and skill sets that they have now.
We've been working in and around the food industry for the last 20 years, and we understood that temperature is a critical control point in the food industry. And indeed, temperature and characteristics like humidity are critical control points in many supply chains, including the health industry, for example. So our customers include food business, and we have customers in the health industry as well using CCP. One of our smart devices, which happens to be connected via the latest NB-IoT service offered by Vodafone, it's continuously monitoring temperature of the fridge, and if that fridge goes out of tolerance, if it fails, then our customer will get an automatic notification on their mobile phone. And similarly, in the hospital environment, we monitor hospitals like Hornsby Hospital in New South Wales, Mona Vale, Mater. We also monitor vaccine fridges for the ACT government, where temperature is critical to those environments as well. Through our early growth, we started selling our solution in 2017, and we're now in Australia, but also in the United States, in Las Vegas, in Minneapolis, in California. We're also in Singapore, and we've just announced our expansion into Malaysia. So we are growing at a fast rate. One of the interesting things, Anne, about CCP is, unlike a lot of sensor devices on the market, this is not a dumb sensor. So this is actually quite a sophisticated processing capability on board. So all the data is processed on board, so customers get immediate alert notifications should something go wrong. We understand is that 15% of the world's electricity is used on refrigeration. Every little bit of optimization done there is a significant saving to business.
We are an agile Australian-based company, so we can actually, and we do everything, hardware and software, as well as all the machine learning development in-house, so we can customize our solution to meet their users' requirements. So we have two products on display today. One is Air Palm. It basically looks at the vein inside your hand. So what we have here is basically an AI robot that can detect people approaching it, and it aligns the iris scanner. So I can show you. As I walk, it actually detects me, and green. The other thing we do with government and law enforcement, local government also with councils. And what we like to expand to is just generally taking it to out of Australia, exporting. That's what we're really looking forward to.
D&I has been around for 30 years. We're located in Balmain in Sydney and in Melbourne, and we've got 50 designers and engineers on board, and we're the most awarded design company in Australia. And so the products that we're showing today here are our new products, including the product from the golf buggy, Concourse Golf, And we've also got Heston Blumenthal barbecue set here, which is a hugely awarded product worldwide. So these are fantastic products that we're developing along with other dozens of products across all industries.
Hi David, could you tell us a little bit about Concourse Golf?
Well, we're a design company for golf buggies, and what we've designed here is smart wheels. And basically inside these wheels is motors, batteries, and a lot of computing power, so two wheels can talk to each other. It's world first technology that we've got inside the wheel. It's powered by Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. We've got brushless motors, lithium batteries, and getting it all inside the hub and then getting two wheels to talk to each other via remote control has been quite a massive journey. We're starting off with golf because that's what the company is built on, golf, but we've worked out that the application for the technology goes well beyond golf. We're now looking at aviation, we're looking at the medical industry. We can even attach everything that we can sort of attach this axle to, as we can deliver power to. And we can even looking to go as far as wheelchairs and hospital beds potentially. Well, this hasn't been done before. Most of the time, if you've got an electrically powered implement, it will have batteries and motors sitting on the frame. We've used the negative space of the hubs to have it all within the hubs. And driving off this axle means the two wheels that can just talk to each other via Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. So no need for wires, and we've got a completely sealed unit inside. So it's quite unique to what anyone else is doing.
This morning, Katie Green, a manager here in manufacturing, has taken us for a short tour of the facility. Wonderful research that's done here in CSIRO Linfield. Tell us a bit more about the research that you're doing.
So John, we work on a range of research areas, from electrical machines, materials development, metal industries, and through to sensors and devices that we develop for really niche and specific opportunities.
If I'm a manufacturer of mining equipment, what sort of things could I come over here and have you develop for me?
So if you're in the mining industry, for example, perhaps you have some tooling that could be helped by having a protective coating put on it to make it longer lasting and more hard wearing. Maybe you're looking at electrical machines, so you need a new electrical motors or engines to be developed into your equipment that could assist you in the mining industry. Sensors, detectors for managing and monitoring your equipment or your facilities. One of the real benefits about CSIRO is we're such a diverse organisation. We've got engineers, whether they be electronics or mechanical engineers. We've got scientists who are physicists and chemists and biologists, the spectrum. So when someone comes to us with a problem, we go, let's understand what your problem is and what are the resources and skills that can help you solve that problem. So CSIRO can bring together a team of diverse expertise that can really help your business overcome the challenges it's facing. Something that CSIRO prides itself on is making sure that we provide the right solution to the problem. So instead of looking for a way to fit in an already commercially available item into an existing product line that you might have, we'll go, how can we tweak that? How can we improve that? How can we give you the best outcome for your business by giving you a custom design or enhancing what you've already got by making some minor tweaks and adjustments? The opportunities internationally for Australian manufacturers and Australian technology to make a huge impact is phenomenal, and CSIRO would love to be involved in that.
Katie, it's fair to say that the engagement by manufacturing, particularly the SME manufacturer, with academics across the board, be it universities, CSIRO or any field, has been a very difficult process. And the perception has been one where engagement has been prohibitive by the need to keep up writing papers. Is there a culture change happening in CSIRO?
Absolutely. CSIRO is looking at ways that we can engage with industry to make that relationship more meaningful for both sides. For example, here at Linfield, we have a number of companies that base their businesses out of our building. So they're part of our community here at Linfield. They interact and engage with scientists as colleagues and peers. We see that the future of manufacturing and all industries in Australia really is about breaking down those barriers and providing access to expertise and knowledge that exists in Australia and making that easier for it to happen. If we can bring together people that have expertise in data science, manufacturing, metal industries, all bring them together into one room, imagine the creative solutions that we're going to be able to come up with, as opposed to going, let's get a group of our electrical engineers all together and get their solution. So diversity is the key, collaboration is the key, building up those relationships and encouraging people to step out of their comfort zone.
Would you say that there is any one industry that dominates in your research here?
So absolutely there is a very close precinct to us that focuses on the biomedical and pharmaceutical industry. So we do have a strong connection to that industry. But as CSIRO manufacturing, we go across the board. We work in defence, we work in materials, we work in aerospace, engineering. Any industry is welcome to come and speak to us.
I must say that I was terribly impressed by the speech that Larry Marshall gave to the National Press Club, your new head of CSIRO. He was quite awe-inspiring, the way he spoke of his history in Silicon Valley trying to commercialise science, and it really did turn my whole concept of the CSIRO as an organisation around. Have you seen the impact trickle down to the floor?
Absolutely. There's been a definite shift in people's mindsets when they think about what's the opportunity for their science. So instead of purely being focused on, I can publish an amazing scientific paper, which is of course still very important, there's the opportunity to go, how can my science have real world impact? How can I deploy that to industry and let them take advantage of what I've discovered and make something more of it? All the staff within CSIRO are much more focused on understanding the needs of their customer and how can we help, as opposed to what do we know about, here, learn what we know. It's really about building those relationships, creating new opportunities for collaboration and having people actually engage more deeply with our customers.
What we find is the word innovation overdone. What really has to be initiated is the imaginative people who bring ingenious ideas and need ingenuity to develop them. And this is where we want to engage as manufacturers with a history in mining and aftermarket automotive with the CSIRO.
So the CSIRO is changing. We're looking at different ways that we can engage with industry, whether that be by providing them with an opportunity to come and work here in a CSIRO building, whether it's providing access to equipment to trial it out and see, does this help my business to grow? And we can start with something small, a simple consultation and a chat over a coffee, and then see where that leads to.
So if I'm a small business, I can come here, I can set up a room, I can start the dialogue, meet engineers and scientists over a cup of coffee and develop my idea. This has been happening here?
So over the past 2 years, we've grown our on-site industry community from 5 people to over 100. We've got people here that are building the next generation of technologies, and it's coming out of Australia. And they're connecting in with CSIRO expertise to make that happen. And what we want to be able to do is encourage other manufacturers and other SMEs in Australia to go, look, I've got something I want to try, but I don't know how to get it off the ground. Can I come and talk to somebody about it?
Manufacturing isn't dead.
Absolutely not.
Wonderful to hear. Good. Now we might go for a walk. I recently went to an ingenious manufacturing organisation in Chippendale in Sydney, 3D printing. And it showed me some of the really ingenious machines that are now being used to make all sorts of items, ranging from nuts, bolts, switches, and also the small buildings that are 1 in 500 to a scale that are going to be built in the city of Sydney.
All right, John, well, welcome to 3D Printing Studios in Sydney. This machine here is our Connex 500 machine. This machine allows us to print prototype models using 2 materials at once. So it can print a rubber material along with a plastic in one piece. These are desktop machines. These tend to be the machines that universities, that schools, and now libraries, we actually sell these machines. These are library machines. A lot of libraries in New South Wales.
So you're agents in Australia for an American made?
No, these are Korean made.
Korean made, right?
Okay. The advantage with these machines is very, very simple and very reliable. Most machines on the market in the desktop category have reliability issues. By looking at a development like this, you can see this is the new development, and these are the two existing homes on either side of it. So it gives you a different perspective as to the impact of that development. This helps councils alleviate a lot of problems. So we turn the architects now draw in 3D. So we're able to take their files directly from the CAD program and print it out. Good. So now they can have a drawing or a model like this in 2 weeks.
And does your 3D printer do the trees too?
No, I add them on. Bottles. You might think, well, bottles, what's the relevance of those? When it comes to packaging. If companies design and change their particular packaging, they need the physical package in order to be able to work out how it's going to sit inside the packaging. So what happens now is they will send us the file, we'll print out a plastic version of what they're hoping for or what they want, and then they can manipulate that in the packaging, or they can feel the bottle and have a sense as to the size, the impact of that. We have some samples here of different medical models that we've done, but some of them are a bit out of left field. You would wonder why you would do that. This here is a heart that we produced on behalf of Bayer Pharmaceuticals. And the reason for that was they have a drug that actually thins the blood, and it stops strokes and can also help with the heart. So we printed up a heart. It's done on that particular Connex machine I spoke about before. These are the veins and they're rubber, so they actually are flexible. The same with the valves that were inside here. The valves are actually flexible, so they can see the valves. And this was used as a communication tool at one of the exhibitions that was done. So you can see a clear heart. It's a replica of a person's heart.
Now, Howard, I've been a manufacturer and I've had to produce all sorts of things, shock absorbers and all sorts of other things. If I come to you and say, one of the things that I have to do is that I have a switch, and I've got a switch that goes on and off, and it quite often gets broken. Do I come to you and say, Howard, make me 5,000 of those?
John, you can certainly do that. That's in fact what we do. These are actual simple switches which are used by one of the military, and they're a simple switch which go inside the machines. Of course, being electrical, they need to be plastic, so they're insulated, and these break very easily. But they're a simple, large switch, and we do thousands of these, 3D printed.
Morning, Gavin.
Morning, John.
Great to have you here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Indeed. A wonderful exercise in 3D printing. Tell me, how did this all start with you?
Well, it started with a clinical problem which my wife Debbie mentioned to me in the clinical practice, and then basically around poor mask design. And then we came to...
Mask for?
Neonates.
Children.
For children.
Right.
Newborns. Newborns, yes, that's correct.
Jolly good. She's a midwife?
That's correct, yes.
Wonderful.
Yes. So we had a few ideas and we needed to put it into practice. We had to create prototypes. So that's how I first saw the old engineering way and realized that's going to be too expensive and too costly and too time consuming. And then I did some Google searches and I found 3D printing. This goes back about 5 years.
Really?
And that's how we met Howard and the 3D team.
And what were you doing before that? I mean, was it a natural grafting onto a tree, or did you come from something, you were an engineer?
Engineer with a long marketing background.
Jolly good, yeah. Because getting that start and the grafting on to an existing state of knowledge is much easier if you're the son of a great musician like Mozart was, rather than start off afresh and you have no idea what a crotchet or a minim is. But you had that engineering background, so you could see an engineering solution to exactly what the problem that your wife saw.
Absolutely correct. It basically it is an engineering solution to a clinical problem.
Wonderful. So next step, you come in and see 3D printing.
Yeah, so the idea was to get to knock out prototypes fast to see if they would work. So we knocked out, actually it turned out to be probably a few hundred in the end. We had the designs manufactured, designed by Howard and his 3D team, and then we knocked them out.
And when you came in here and you had this idea, were you asked for preventative fees up front? I mean, quite often one walks into situations like this and says, I have a dream, and the 3D designer says, oh yes, that'll be $10,000, put your check in the door, give me an order, press hard. Did you find that problem with Howard?
No, not at all. Not at all. It was
Isn't
a
that good?
fantastic. There's a great design service here, which I required. I mean, they use some fancy software, which can be transferred straight to a 3D printer. So we managed to do a few designs. They couldn't be printed. The actual product can't be printed. That's the actual product there. Couldn't be printed. Well, it can be now these days. So we had basically a mold printed that we could cast into this, so we could cast the product. A newborn might have some breathing problems,
right.
So it's instantaneous. So they provide resuscitation straight away.
So tell me, what other things do you have here? Obviously the mould, which is intriguing when I know the difficulties that there are out there if you want, for example, a mould for a plastic machine. That has to be cut out of steel. What other products?
That's correct.
And this solves all of that. So tell
really
me more.
So this is obviously the negative of what it would be, the prototype. These are for prototypes. And when you need other types of product, we needed a small little fitting. So we also had a small fitting designed, and that was also printed. This particular fitting here, this was injection molded, but it had to be designed first in the prototype stage.
And where does that fitting fit?
It fits inside, into the mold.
Understood.
Yeah, into the mold. Yeah.
Okay. So you took that off-site, did you? You took that to an injection mold, injection molder?
This here is injection molded because you really want to produce, in one afternoon you want to produce a few thousand.
Right.
But it was originally designed here on the software and printed here as prototypes to see if it will work. So we would have made at least a dozen different prototypes, which would have been very difficult in the past to make a dozen different prototypes and then try to produce it that way. So here it gets designed, printed, tested. If it doesn't work, throw it away, start again.
Other industries that we see the future where this develops?
Well, obviously in medical devices there's a very big future for 3D printing, but maybe Howard, you should answer the question about other industries.
Okay, thank you, Gavin. Look, what we've found with other industries is that so many different companies are coming to us with their ideas. It's very difficult for me to predict where 3D printing will go because I'm so close to the ideas. But to talk about some of the things that we are doing and what 3D printing supplying is, here we have a medical device which is for dental, and this holds the X-ray in place in someone's mouth and lines up the X-ray. Now this is 3D printed. It's made as one piece, it opens and closes. It's made from nylon 12 material, which is medical grade, so it can go into an autoclave and be sterilised. And this is something that we're producing regularly now. Every single month we produce hundreds of these. So it's a finished product that's now being printed. Some of the other things that we're doing as well, which may help towards that answer about the future, these are from MRI and CT scans. These are used in surgical consultations with patients.
It's a shoulder blade, isn't it?
It's a shoulder blade, it's a scapula. So what will happen is...
I know because I broke one.
is companies such as PRP Imaging and iMed will send us the file. It's a file that we can print directly, and that will then be sent back to the surgeon for consultation with their client. It's used for communications and for surgical planning. And the other one here is for Westmead Hospital. This is a patient who has a cancerous tumour. So items like this are able to do surgical planning prior to operations, which saves time, money.
There are a lot of people out there with some ideas, but getting something to be on a table to say, that's what it is, boy, that's a big leap.
It's just great. What an interesting time we're living in.
Isn't it?
The old Chinese proverb, may you pray that you live in interesting times.
Thank you. Recently, REFACTURED, in collaboration with Advanced Manufacturing Growth Centre, did a tour of the University of New South Wales research and where it was taking ideas to fruition and that can be applicable to manufacturing. It is research that is market driven and not just theoretical research, and it is being used on a day-to-day basis at the University of New South Wales.
I'm Michael Sharp. I'm the State Director of the Advanced Manufacturing Growth Centre. Well, today we held the Path to Advanced Manufacturing event right here at UNSW. It was great to have over 180 participants come along to hear our members share their stories, their manufacturing journey, what it means to be an advanced manufacturer in Australia today. The case studies that we were able to demonstrate show that working with universities is providing a great leg up to the export opportunities that we all want to be a part of. Transforming manufacturing. The Australian government established the Advanced Manufacturing Growth Centre in 2015. We're a pretty young organisation. We are an industry-led, membership-based, non-profit organisation, and our mission is simple: to transform Australian manufacturing into a competitive, export-focused centre. Thanks to all the team at UNSW for having us today. So we partner with research organisations right across Australia, most of the universities and the CSIRO and ANSTO and others. We also partner with industry. So projects that we help co-fund must have a minimum of 3 project participants, and that includes a research organisation and industry partners. And we're looking forward to touring your facilities.
Our world's first microfactory, we can show to the rest of the world that waste isn't a problem. It's actually an incredible opportunity. Our e-waste microfactory has a number of small modules that can be replicated anywhere in the world. And actually in this particular case, it all fits
at a micro
within
level.
50 square.
Monitor all of those changes, build the machines, include in their Australian technology developed through that partnership, and actually then teach the rest of the world how to do it. I guess to me that was the really fabulous aha moment that you actually only get when you're walking on the shop floor and those conversations. And I think we've had tremendous number of opportunities through this network to be able to just have those conversations that really show that through that exchange of ideas, which actually in a way what that whole division of enterprise at UNSW is all about, that division of knowledge exchange, when you actually think about that, it starts at those grassroots level with simple conversations that actually enable us to make those connections, and those connectivities are so important.
And the biggest thing we've been doing over the past 12 months is connecting industry to universities. So at the AMGC, we now have over 250 member companies. Membership is free, so we're really encouraging more and more people to get involved, be part of this ecosystem that we're building across Australia. The nation's manufacturers are transforming. We're seeing more people want to be part of that. We've got the research to back it up, and we welcome more people to join. The sector is also highly entrepreneurial. We've got many of you here today in that field, accounting for more patents filed than any other industry. We're an innovative bunch. Manufacturing is stronger than what we give it credit for. We're seeing more and more jobs being created in advanced manufacturing. We're seeing more manufacturers involving themselves with robotics and artificial intelligence. And we're seeing export opportunities grow. So this is really important in the fact of Industry 4.0 and what it means to Australian industry. I'd much rather see, and I'm sure you'd all agree, to have a potential marketplace of 7 billion people in addition to just the 25 million here in Australia. So how do we engage with that for manufacturing? AMGC believes that Australian manufacturers should be looking to expand into the new export markets and offer niche products and services including intermediate goods. Success here would account for 7 to 9 percentage points of our increase in value.
You know, the collective wisdom in the press and said by certain leaders of this country is that manufacturing's dead. Well, it's far from dead. It is being reinvigorated by the day, and the series that we've seen have been examples of how truly amazing that manufacturing has turned around. It's assumed that because we can't make a car, that we can't make anything else. Well, that is far from the truth. And what this series has pointed out is the reinvigoration, the new manufacturing, the new ideas that are being turned into solid products, and the export potential that each one of these shows Australia is back in business as a manufacturer.